RFD TV presents Gentle Giant with Pam Minnick and Katie Kaufman.
This week we explore the fabulous world of Fresians. The ancestors of these gentle giants were war horses in the Middle Ages. You know, their size enabled them to carry knights in armor.
Fresians, as we'll see, whether it's riding or driving, truly may be the most versatile of gentle giants. Stay with us, we'll explore these real black beauties when we return.
Welcome back to Gentle Giants. For many youngsters, books like The Black Stallion and Black Beauty shaped their vision of what a beautiful horse looks like. And that's where the love affair with Fresians began for Julie Kuhn.
But when I actually saw a picture of a Fresian, that is the vision that I had in my mind since I was a child. The long hair, you know, I'd never seen a Fresian when I was a kid, but the long hair and the majesty, the upright neck and the presence, I saw one and that was it.
Paul and Julie Kuhn are proud of the breeding program at their Wind Spirit Fresians in North Texas.
Paul's not a horse person at all, but he knew my desire and my passion. Before we ever got married, I told him what my dream was, and he said, I'll make that happen. And he did.
Julie and Paul, of course, have been involved in the Fresian horses forever and are very well respected in the United States amongst other breeders.
I believe she's one of the foremost experts in North America. We have people calling all the time that Julie gives advice to about, especially about breeding. Julie and I have attended hundreds of hours of seminars, both in the Netherlands and here in the U.S., and actually have hosted educational seminars.
The journey to become a top Fresian breeder initially began with just one mare.
I had been searching the internet for another mare, pregnant mare, and my husband was like, no, that's not gonna happen. So I said, okay. So while we're watching, Sadie was her name, Sadie give birth, Paul got so enamored and wrapped up in it, he goes, you better hurry up and call those people about that other mare before I change my mind. So I did.
I witnessed the birth of this baby, this foal, and it just melted my heart. Probably for all horses, but obviously for Fresians. And Julie had her eye on another Fresian at the time, and I was resisting having too many horses, and I think it was the day after this filly was born, I said, okay, if you want that horse, you better get it now before I change my mind. So she gets on the phone, and you know, a week later, this other horse shows up that's pregnant, and a few weeks later, you know, we have another foal.
Tom Pollard of the Lone Star Equine Horse Council conducts tours of farms and ranches in North Texas. 60 people boarded the bus to meet Paul and Julie and see their beautiful Fresians.
You know, Tom warned me there's going to be 60 people coming, and I said, that's fine. You know, he came out, we kind of gave him an overview of what we wanted to do, split the group into threes, and Marvel talked about the history of the breed, and Julie talked about our breeding program, and John Haller and Sally and Taylor Sanders ended up on the carriage with the horse. And people were thrilled. They were just absolutely thrilled when they got off the bus. You know, the eyes were wide open, the mouths were gaping, and I think they all, you know, just had a wonderful time here.
And the really fun part for us is to see how excited, I mean, the minute they walked down the driveway and they saw the Fresians, they were just like, oh my goodness, they couldn't stand themselves. It was like, oh, I want to see, I want to see. And we had a surprise for them because we had a foal born the night before. So Paul and I couldn't decide on a name. We both like different names, so we left it up to the tour group to pick the name, to vote at the end which name they liked the best, and they really loved that. So we did end up naming it Seabrand, which is the name that they picked. Fresians are very kind, very willing to, they want to please you. They're just like a big black lab. And you can use them for pleasure. You can use them for dressage, you can use them for training, you can use them for Western pleasure. We have used ours. I have done a cow working with my gelding, who absolutely loved it. You know, Western saddle, the works.
We started off okay, and now, you know, in recent years we've had excellent results, and that's because we took the long-term way to help develop our breeding program.
My passion for the Fresian is just, it's incredible.
It's been a crazy ride. It's been so enjoyable, so much fun, so interesting. Not just the horses, just the people and everyone we've met in North America and over in the Netherlands. It's been fantastic.
Don't go away. When Gentle Giants returns, we're going for a wild ride with Joni Kuhn. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Gentle Giants. On a beautiful farm in North Texas, Joni Kuhn hitches up her Fresians and turns a quiet afternoon into her own speedway. You'll see why we compare her to race car driver Danica Patrick.
Yep, we're good.
Joni Kuhn has always been somewhat of a daredevil. An accomplished horsewoman, she competed in rodeos, barrel racing, and even goat tying as a teenager. She then switched focus to jumping and grueling 3-day eventing. Joni is a pilot and flight instructor. She is even licensed to fly a helicopter. So when she's not going 500 miles an hour at 30,000 feet, she takes the lines of her Fresians and pilots them around obstacles as fast as she can go.
I started out with 4-H as a kid, and I've done the Fat Stock Show, Texas rodeos, barrel racing, all that as a kid. And then I got into English riding as a grown-up. And then I bought this place about 4 years ago and really wanted to find a horse that would be just really versatile, that I could have people out and do some fun things with. And so, I don't know why, but my whole life I've really had an urge to drive horses. And so I looked at the breeds and started getting really interested in the Fresian breed. And so they're so beautiful, but they can ride, drive, dressage. You can put beginners on them. They're friendly animals, and the experience that an owner has with a Fresian is really different than any other breed, because I own every kind of horse there is, and these guys are the friendliest. They will gallop towards you and stop within an inch and just love you all over. They are the most gentle giants, creatures, amazing, that you can find. So I've really enjoyed getting to know this breed. And these are the first two I've ever had, and I have just started to show them. I do competitions, carriage driving, arena driving, and then combined driving, which is the dressage, cones, and cross country. And I did that on thoroughbreds and eventing, and it's just a nice carryover to that event. But they're incredible animals, and I've so enjoyed the elegance and majesty of these horses. And it's been a great experience so far. I've bought 2 young babies, a weanling and a yearling, in Colorado, and brought them here to Texas. And their names are Andrik and Zobi, and they're full brothers, a year apart. And I just sent them to a fantastic trainer right off the bat when they were young, and he's made them into some beautiful horses.
Both of her geldings made star. She started them driving. She's had them in movies. She's incredible. She's totally fearless.
Driving is amazing, and the difficulty is when you ride a horse, you have all these aids, your legs, your hands, and your voice, and whatever. But when you go to driving, you lose your leg, so now your voice and your hands become everything you have, and it makes it more important, your voice and your hands. And it is very difficult to make the transition, but so much fun. And it's challenging, fun, exciting, and it's something that couples can do together. They can do pleasure driving on weekends. It's enjoyed by so many ages, and it can be fast and furious if that's what you're into, or it can be just a community where you're in a club and you all go out on the weekends for a picnic drive or a pleasure drive. It's pretty spectacular, the diversity of driving. I like to do speed events with the Fresians. So there's a new concept out there now called arena driving. They do it over in Europe, and it hasn't really caught on in the US, but we're starting to, we're trying to get it going. And it's just timed events in an arena through elements, and you just go as fast as you possibly can. Hip, hip. Yeah! Hip, hip, hip. Yep, hop, hop, hop. Soapy, hop, hop, hop. Get up here! Yeah! Get up here! Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whoa. Whoa. Good boys. They just got back from Atlanta doing the Hunger Games movie 2 that's coming out in November, and that trip alone made me fall in love with Fresians, because these two guys did the most, the scariest nightmare of a trip that you could ask horses to do, and they just survived it all beautifully, came out of it unscathed, and I trust these boys to do almost anything now because of what they went through with the Hunger Games movie. The movie is quite interesting. The premise of the movie with the carriages, as you could see in the first movie, is they have a chariot, and they put the actors in the chariot. Well, the chariot is being pulled by horses, but there are no drivers. And they want that futuristic look of it just going, but they like the element of there is no one driving. So what you are is you're on your knees, and there's a small slit of a window, and the reins come through down below, and you are trying to control these large animals through this little window on your knees, and your vision is so small. And it was the most challenging, most difficult thing I've ever done in my life, but I wouldn't trade it for a second because it was so cool. I would encourage anyone to at least go see a Fresian. The majesty and the beauty and the elegance of these horses are really special that you don't find in most breeds. And they have a natural high stepping gait that you don't have to train them to do. They naturally do it, and it's really a beautiful movement. That's why they look so beautiful in front of the carriage, because they just bring all that elegance to the carriage. And the friendliness, people love them because they are incredibly friendly. The most friendly horse I think I've ever been around. So I think anybody would really love the Fresian breed.
Oh, no, Fred, that was close. She is quite the daredevil. We'll slow it down and show you the control of Fresians under saddle when we return. Stay with us. Gentle Giants will be right back.
Welcome back to Gentle Giants. Because of their friendliness, adaptability, willing disposition, and athleticism, you'll find Fresians under saddle, both Western and English, in parades and in the show ring. Jamie Knight played competitive golf in high school and in college at the University of North Texas. When she got married and went horse shopping with her husband Marcus, Fresians caught her eye.
When we started horse shopping, I'd had another horse and my husband wanted a horse too, and we saw a Fresian at some demo, and he was like, oh, I want that kind of horse, big black with all the hair and feathers. And so we started shopping for a Fresian just because we thought they were pretty. Patience in golf requires a lot of feel, and riding requires the same kind, a lot of feel, or dressage does. And I'm still have a long way to go to learn the proper feel with dressage, but it's helped a lot to help me, you know, take instruction and be able to do what she's telling me in my body is similar to golf instruction. Dressage is based on levels, and you start out at an intro level, and the highest level you can ride at is international competition. What you see in the Olympics is Grand Prix. And there's all these levels in between that you work your way up through slow and progressive training.
Jamie and her horse Tess participated in dressage testing where they're honing their skills to get to the next level. And this Fresian is the perfect mount.
Mostly their temperament is wonderful for dressage. I mean, they're so trainable and sweet and willing. I mean, they just want to please you. So that helps tremendously. I mean, most dressage you see a lot of warm bloods because they're so athletic and they're bred for the movement for the upper levels. Fresians don't necessarily have the flashy movement like the warm bloods, but their temperament is so good that for an amateur rider to be able to hop on her and go to a show and do pretty well is priceless to me.
Dan Kessler and Marvel Jeffcoat are proud of the horses they're raising at Medallion Fresians outside Fort Worth, Texas. They are passionate about the intricate study of bloodlines and the challenge of breeding quality Fresians.
The thing that's really interesting about the Fresian breed is that they inspect all of the horses, usually between their first 6 to 9 months. And so you get to see right away how the babies are going to do. And then all the horses are brought back at 3 years of age, and they inspect them all through what's called a curing. That's really how they look at their movement and their conformation, and they classify them. But they also collect the DNA on the horses, and so the breed's relatively small, so everyone's very careful about ensuring that we're minimizing the effects of a small breed and any inbreeding that you might have. But I think the wonderful thing about the breed is they capture all the information about all the horses. And so when you go to look at Fresians or acquire a Fresian, you can look at the heritage of a Fresian horse back 8 or 10 generations. You can look at all their offspring. You really get a very good idea when you look at a stallion and when you look at considering breeding your stallion with your mare, what you're likely to get from that breeding. But what's really nice about it is you really know the quality of the horse that you're getting, and you really have a good understanding of the investment that you're making.
Hilka was my first horse. I flew to Kansas to a farm there, and they had imported Hilka, and I fell in love immediately.
Marvel's able to ride him competitively in dressage, and he can get a lot of get up and go, but you can also take him to a parade of lights in Fort Worth, or something that you would think most horses with a lot of enthusiasm would worry about, and he has no trouble with those kinds of things.
They are very majestic, obviously with the beautiful, luxurious mane and tail and the feathers, and always being black. And then what I love is their golden character that goes along with it. The Fresian babies are so friendly, you know, much like the adults, so much easier to work with. They're more open to coming up to you and being handled, and just very, very curious about you. So having those babies is just a blessing, and we love it.
We want to thank all of you for watching Gentle Giants this week. I know Pam and I certainly learned a lot about these beautiful black beauties.
And we want to thank these folks for opening their barns to us. There's Julie and Paul and Jamie and Joni and Marvel and Dan. We learned so much and we appreciate you, like I said, opening your barn to us. We'll see you right back here next week on Gentle Giants, and make sure you check us out on Facebook.
Bye-bye.